Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhait, the minister of this congregation. We are so glad you have chosen to join us in worship. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we affirm that we need not think alike to love alike, meaning that we are a faith community woven together in shared covenant, rather than a singularity of belief. This is the covenant that binds us. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. If that sounds like the kind of community you've been seeking, please see our website, uuamherst.org, and get to know us better. We begin our worship together by lighting the flaming chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, that embodies the light of reason and the search for truth and meaning, the warmth of friendship and community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more justice and compassion to a hurting world.
Our chalice lighting words come from Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life that we share.
The seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism affirms and promotes respect for the interdependent web of all existence. In recognition of all that connects us, we offer words of gratitude and responsibility.
My name is Marie Evans, and I'm a part of our Planet Thursday initiative. We begin our worship together with an acknowledgement and a word of gratitude for the land upon which our church rests. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst sits on 11 acres of land that once belonged to the Seneca Nation, one of the tribes that make up the Haudenosaunee. The land belonged to the Haudenosaunee not because they had deeds or other legal proof of ownership, but because they were born to the land and lived in relationship with it. We are the grateful heirs of deep connection.
Here we are, at the cusp of a new year, with over 9 months of pandemic isolation behind us and an indeterminate time ahead of us. We are definitely in liminal space, the time between. We have survived the winter holidays so far, and we are gritting our teeth and moving forward. That's a heck of a way to begin a new cycle around the sun. Today, I want us to enlarge our vision, to lift our eyes from the moment we find ourselves in to that wider vision that has been calling to us for decades. Do you remember Y2K, that scary transition to the year 2000? Well, as some people were stockpiling beans and canned goods, others were looking forward, imagining a world to come. Today, we begin the intentional process of looking forward, of choosing a future for ourselves and for the planet. Choosing a future might sound like hubris, laying claim to godlike powers, but in truth, it is what makes us human. In his book, The Great Turning, which I will be accessing frequently throughout this discussion, David Korten writes, "The capacity to anticipate and choose our future is a defining characteristic of the human species. The recent global spread of communications technologies has combined with a confrontation with planetary limits to present us with a unique opportunity and the necessity to use that capacity with conscious collective intent. The defining choice is between two contrasting models for organizing human affairs. Give them the generic names empire and earth community. Empire, which features organization by domination, and which has been a defining feature of the most powerful and influential human societies for some 5,000 years, appropriates much of the productive surplus of society to maintain a system of dominator power and elite competition. Racism, sexism, and classism are endemic features of empire. Earth community, which features organization by partnership, unleashes the human potential for creative cooperation and allocates the productive surplus of society to the work of growing the generative potential of the whole. And so, we begin the intentional process of choosing Earth community over empire, of partnership over domination. We are by no means the first in this endeavor. That path is well worn, but we could be the last. I don't mean that to sound dire. We could be the last because we could be successful in building on the good work that has been done by generations of others who yearned for a more just and compassionate world. One shining example is the Earth Charter, penned 20 years ago. Here is the preamble, which is as true today as when it was conceived. We stand at a critical moment in Earth's history, a time when humanity must choose its future. As the world becomes increasingly interdependent and fragile, the future at once holds great peril and great promise. To move forward, we must recognize that in the midst of a magnificent diversity of cultures and life forms, we are one human family and one Earth community with a common destiny. We must join together to bring forth a sustainable global society founded on respect for nature, universal human rights, economic justice, and a culture of peace. Towards this end, it is imperative that we, the people of Earth, declare our responsibility to one another, to the greater community of life, and to future generations. Indeed, we are at a critical moment, a time to choose the path forward that will lead us out of the paradigm of empire and into Earth community. We are at the great turning.
These last few weeks and months have been a time of unprecedented crises layered upon each other, a time of such uncertainty and instability. When I try to imagine what to expect next, I sometimes sing this song to myself lately, a song that reminds me not to have any expectations or try and set a specific plan for the future, but to move together in harmony, in rhythm with my community. To remember that the wisdom of our community is the greatest wisdom. To remember that we can move together, that we are defined by each other, and that together we can find a way forward. I invite you to sing along, "We shall be known by the company we keep." We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change and life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change and life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change and life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around, attend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change and life from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. Let me start by underscoring the last phrase of the song. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. Note that it is a work in progress. We don't have to master the practice of leading in love before effecting the great turning. In fact, I think the way we learn to lead in love is through the process of the turning. We have been learning how to lead in love as we live our Unitarian Universalist values, reaching out to foster more justice and compassion in the world. It's important to understand David Korten's concepts of empire and earth community to know the what and the why of this turning. Then we can focus on the how. As I describe these two models, you'll notice that we are not completely submersed in empire. Much has been done to manifest the values of earth community. So we are not starting at zero. These models can best be understood as competing tendencies. None of us are all one or the other. Not even our institutions are all one or the other. Let's begin by describing the cultural norms and supporting narratives of empire. The worldview of empire is rooted in the belief that life is hostile and competitive. Humans are flawed and dangerous, and life can be summed up as compete or die. The rights of the self are of supreme importance, and society is ordered through hierarchy. The defenders of empire love power. Contrast those qualities with those of earth community, where life is believed to be supportive and cooperative. Humans have many possibilities, and life can be summed up as cooperate and live. The rights of all are important, and society is ordered through relationship. The defenders of earth community love life. Presented with those two models, I think most of us would place more value on the cooperative and life-enhancing foundations of earth community. We'd probably also say that it's all wishful thinking, that the real world doesn't work that way. Could it be that we think it's too good to be true because we've only been presented with one option? When we only experience one way, we assume it's the only way. David Korten writes, "Empire's hierarchy of dominance creates an illusion of order and security. In fact, it is a social pathology that feeds a violent and self-destructive competition, suppresses creative potential, and promotes a grossly inefficient use of resources. Feeding on its own illusions, empire becomes a kind of collective addiction, a psychological dependence on domination, violence, and material excess. The afflicted embrace it as a crutch because it satisfies their need for a sense of power and security, albeit in a tragically self-destructive way." If you've watched any amount of news over the last 4 years, you've witnessed empire in action. Of course, we are not limited to recent history. The empire model has been firmly in place for at least 5,000 years, which, although that seems like forever, it really isn't. There are other ways of being in the world if we have the will and the courage to choose a different path. Historically, Unitarians and Universalists, and since 1961, Unitarian Universalists, have been accused of being heretics. In our early history, as Christianity was emerging, the label of heretic was a death sentence. In our most recent history, it is a label we have embraced, as it means those who choose. For many of us, Unitarian Universalism is our chosen faith, and even those who are born into it are encouraged to make an informed choice as to whether this faith will remain their spiritual home. If the Great Turning requires the people of Earth to choose a different future, then we have been preparing for generations to lead in love. We look to our past, and we can see how our spiritual ancestors worked tirelessly for social justice. We have always had a disproportionate amount of influence compared to our small numbers. Our history is replete with those on the front lines of abolition, mental health reform, public education for all, marriage equality, immigration reform, and that is just scratching the surface. What was it about these people that made others recognize their leadership? Were they just that remarkably persuasive? Well, if you've read Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, you may have a sense for what was at work in these movements. In addition to being compelled by the courage of their convictions, these leaders of change used what influence they had to target their message and their audience. Gladwell calls that stickiness, and it is crucial for tipping everything from an idea to the next fashion trend. Engage the right people in the right circles, and we can change the world one conversation at a time. I wonder, how many people will it take to tip the scales away from empire and into earth community? What global circumstances will create the conditions for change? I think we are in the midst of what is simultaneously a great tragedy and a great opportunity in the pandemic. If we are not changed by this worldwide event, then it will be nothing but a tragic loss of life and an example of empire at its worst. But if humanity can be changed, and truly, not everyone will, but that's okay. We just need enough to create the tipping point, the magical moment when the idea of earth community captures the imagination and crosses the threshold from impossible to possible. Then we can collectively choose a future that, in the words of the preamble to the Earth Charter, will bring forth a sustainable global society founded on respect for nature, universal human rights, economic justice, and a culture of peace. Boy, howdy, that sounds like a lot of work. But as I said before, we are not starting at zero. We stand on the shoulders of giants, of those who came before us and prepared the way. As my retired colleague Wayne Arneson says, the way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. But take courage, for deep down there is another truth. We are not alone. That might sound like the end of the sermon, but we've much more ground to cover. We just need a breather and some inspiration for the road ahead. Let's pause for a moment as Meg Barnhouse and Kiya Heartwood bring to life the words of the 14th century Christian mystic Julian of Norwich. All shall be well. All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well.
holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow. And no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger. No one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness. And no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
We lit our chalice this morning with these words by Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a greater generosity of spirit, a deeper joy in this life we share. Are those not the attributes and goals of Earth community? How do we get there? It is one thing to have lovely aspirational words to guide our worship, but how do we give these words life? How do we create a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope? How do we exhibit a greater generosity of spirit? And how do we nurture it in others? Can we really experience a deeper joy in this life we share? Notice that every one of those attributes has been intensified. It's not enough to create peace, love, and hope. We aspire to deeper, larger, and more embracing. It reminds me of Jesus' words that he came so that we might have life and have it more abundantly. Gandhi reminds us that we are not just the recipients of blessings, but we must be the blessings. We must become the change we seek in the world. We must become Earth community, not just talk about it. David Korten writes, "The work of the Great Turning is not to fix empire. It is to birth a new era that makes the choice for life, gives expression to the higher potential of our nature, and restores to people, families, and communities the power that empire usurped." Empire cannot be fixed. There is no such thing as a kinder, gentler paradigm of domination. The Great Turning can be nothing less than 180 degrees. I believe we have the momentum and the creative energy to reset the course for humanity and for all of life on this finite, fragile, yet remarkably resilient planet. A phrase you've heard me use again and again is to become worthy ancestors, something we can only do while we yet breathe. It is our actions now that will earn the respect and gratitude of future generations. In the words of Joanna Macy, future generations, if there is a livable world for them, will look back at the epochal transition we are making to a life-sustaining society, and they may well call this the time of the Great Turning. Imagine what good we can accomplish if we turn away from our fear and hopelessness. Imagine what beauty we can bring to the world with our courage and creativity. Our Director of Faith Development, Angela Warren, has a special story about exactly that.
The story today is called Miss Rumphius by Barbara Cooney. To St. Nicholas, patron saint of children, sailors, and maidens. The Lupin lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin lady is little and old, but she has not always been that way. I know. She's my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. From the front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships and carving Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice helped him put in the skies. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he had finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That is all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there is a third thing you must do." "What is that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she did not know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great-aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home and went to live in another city, far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up, and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," said Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." So Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island, where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. She walked on long beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day she met the Bapa Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. My great-aunt Miss Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping, and everywhere she made friends she would never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I have certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it is time to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water, and she saw it all set in glory in the evening. She started a little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house. She planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. "But there is still one more thing I have to do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." "But what?" "The world already is pretty nice," she thought, looking out over the ocean. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupins," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I have always loved lupins the best. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could have more flowers next year." But she was not able to. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better. Now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill where she had not been in a very long time. "I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top. For there on the other side of the hill was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupins. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. "It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. She hurried home and got out her seed catalogs. She sent off to the very best seed house for 5 bushels of lupin seed. All that summer Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over the fields and headlands, sowing lupins. She scattered the seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt any more at all. Now some people called her that crazy old lady. The next spring there were lupins everywhere. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third, the most difficult thing to do of all. My great-aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. Every year there are more and more lupins. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old, old lady who planted the fields of lupins. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. That is all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there is a third thing you must do. What is that? I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. But I do not know yet what that can be.
You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All of our accomplishments will mean nothing if we do not add beauty to the world. Of course, beauty takes many forms, so if you're unsure about what constitutes beauty, if you are bewildered about how to become a worthy ancestor, look to the words of the Earth Charter. Let ours be a time remembered for the awakening of a new reverence for life, the firm resolve to achieve sustainability, the quickening of the struggle for justice and peace, and the joyful celebration of life. This is the pathway to becoming worthy ancestors. David Korten articulates it with beauty and passion. By what name will our children and our children's children call our time? Will they speak in anger and frustration of the time of the great unraveling, when profligate consumption led to an accelerating wave of collapsing environmental systems, violent competition for what remained of the planet's resources, a dramatic dieback of the human population, and a fragmentation of those who remained into warring fiefdoms ruled by worthless local lords? Or will they look back in joyful celebration on the noble time of the Great Turning, when their forebears turned crisis into opportunities, embraced the higher order potential of their human nature, learned to live in creative partnership with one another and the living earth, and brought forth a new era of human possibility? We humans stand at a defining moment that presents us with an irrevocable choice. Our collective response will determine how our time is remembered for so long as the human species survives. In the days now at hand, we must each be clear that every individual and collective choice we make is a vote for the future we of this time will bequeath to the generations that follow. The Great Turning is not a prophecy. It is a possibility. It is time to choose our future, to seize the opportunity embedded in a time of tragedy and loss, to recognize the creative energy at the heart of everything, and to align ourselves to its tipping power. As the American artist and writer Brian Andreas captured in one of his Story People prints, "In my dream, the angel shrugged and said, 'If we fail this time, it will be a failure of imagination.' And then she placed the world gently in the palm of my hand." We have been entrusted with the most precious gift imaginable, the only planet in the only solar system that we know of that creates and supports life in all of its abundance and variety. We must not fail. We must not be cowed by the specter of empire. We must not be spectators to the great unraveling. Everything we know, every hardship we have endured, every joy that has stolen our breath, has prepared us for the reawakening of Earth community. Our spiritual ancestors and the spirits of future generations surround us, a great cloud of witnesses to this pivotal moment when we enact the great turning and learn to lead in love.
We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along.
We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying till we all can get along, till the world can sing our song. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting, shouting right from wrong, till the world can sing our song. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear our song, till the world can sing along.
Thank you for joining us in worship today. Please see the credits at the end of this service for information about the music and other worship elements. And do take a moment to visit our website, uuamherst.org, and click on the giving link, or text your gift to 833-987-1968. We close this time of worship as we extinguish our chalice with this prayer for living intention by Reverend Joe Cherry. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we as a people of faith be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. Travel light and travel easy, till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. Go in peace. Live simply, gently at home in yourselves. Act justly. Speak justly. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in the days of your powerlessness. Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and stint not your hand of charity. Practice forbearance. Speak the truth, or speak not. Take care of yourselves as bodies, for you are a good gift. Crave peace for all people in the world, beginning with yourselves, and go as you go, with the dream of that peace alive in your heart.